Oh! Why? Don't do that! Generic intro and that goes me here, back with another kill count reaction. Today we are starting the Halloween franchise with Halloween 1 and 2. I believe Halloween is about Michael Myers, I want to say. Of course, I've never seen any of these movies. I believe my knowledge of Michael Myers came from a death that I watched like a year or two ago, I want to say. But last week we actually did the kill count on Cujo, which is another movie that I've not seen and did not know much about. Did not know it actually had rabies, which is really sad because I do love dogs. You can check my reaction to the Cujo kill count. I'll leave it right up there. Also, link down below in the description. Also, in a place on my channel with all my other kill count reactions. Go in chronological order if you want to binge watch do all of them. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hopefully I can make it just tiny a little bit better. Do read our comments, leave them down below, and also shout out to the patrons because none of this would be possible if it was not for them. $3 a month get you all my reaction videos a day early, and we are also like so close to 100,000 subscribers. We're like almost 1,000 away. Like we're closing in on the final 1,000 subscribers for 100,000, which is just crazy to think about. Kill counts on the channel every single Saturday. Patrons get all of the videos a day early on the channel, which is just insane to think about. But today we're doing Halloween. I'm gonna learn a lot about Michael Myers. I want to say it's Michael Myers for sure. I definitely want to say it's Michael Myers, but we're gonna do Halloween 1 and Halloween 2, and I'm really excited to jump into this. Hope you are too. So let's go ahead and jump on into it. All right. Oh, no disclaimer. Also, I've never seen any of these movies.
Welcome to the Kill Count.
I did a death battle with them.
Movies. I'm James A. Janice, and
Hi,
today
James.
we're finally starting
what is
what has been the single most requested series in Kill Count history. Halloween, John Carpenter's 1978 film that ignited the slasher
I don't know who John Carpenter is.
As I've said on this show before, Halloween was not the first slasher ever made, but it was the one that captured everyone's imagination. After producer Irwin Yablans came up with the movie's title and a simple premise
just Halloween.
Babysitters, co-writers and producers John Carpenter and Deborah Hill set out to make horror history with a laughably small budget of only $320,000. Provided by
I must say $320.
quote-unquote grandfather of Halloween, Mustafa Akkad. There are lots of reasons this movie went so far on so little. From the iconic haunting score composed by Carpenter himself, to the suburban setting that made the audience feel as vulnerable as the victims they were watching, to the memorable performances by a 20-year-old Jamie Lee Curtis and the original Ernst Stavro Blofeld Donald Pleasance. But above all else, Halloween succeeded because of its blank-faced stalker Michael Myers, also known as The Shape. Played by filmmaker
The Shape. I've never heard him called that.
$25 a day, the man in the modified William Shatner mask terrified audiences and kicked off the first of the horror genre's royal franchises. Over the next couple of months, I'll be covering all of the Halloweens available on home video, meaning 10 installments and 4 different timelines. On October 19th, the 11th film will be released, which will start a 5th timeline for the series. But we'll have to wait for the Blu-ray for it to be on the kill count. Don't worry though, even without that latest installment, we're in for a crazy ride.
Yeah, the next couple weeks are all going to be all Halloween
becomes a shrieking madman, as Michael's origin becomes tied up in the occult, and all the times that the series tries to reinvent itself, whether that's as a couple of hip millennial horror comedies, a low-class white trash hellbilly saga, or a Irish toy maker selling deadly Halloween masks. But before we get into all that, we gotta go back to Haddonfield, Illinois, and count the kills.
Of course it's Illinois. Haddonfield. Is that a real place?
The movie begins with a jack-o'-lantern and a title card.
Low budget.
Away, even the opening credits are iconic, since they're backed by that dope-ass Halloween theme, and because when it zooms in on the pumpkin's eye and nose, it looks like Michael himself holding a knife. Cool. After that, we're in Haddonfield, Illinois, on Halloween night, 1963, in a first-person POV shot similar to the one that opened Black Christmas. The POV shots
That's true.
were done with the recently invented Steadicam technology by cinematographer Dean Cundy, who would go on to shoot blockbusters such as the Back to the Future trilogy and Jurassic frickin' Park. We watch as our audience surrogate peeps in on a couple making out before they head upstairs for more heavy petting. After a stop at the kitchen drawer where Deborah Hill's hand grabs a butcher knife, the first-person view sees the dude putting his shirt back on and leaving the house. It's only been a minute, dude. Was that one of those never happens to me situations? The camera heads upstairs and grabs the clown mask from the floor, obfuscating our view as it walks into the very open bedroom of the topless Judith Myers.
If anything's blurred, it's copyright.
Is the best, I'm sure, but maybe close the door for it, or else you risk this happening.
Michael?
Yep, this is Michael Myers' first kill, his older sister Judith, and he's such a noob murderer that he has to keep checking his stabbing. Why
was he outside of his house? Did he get locked out or something?
Don't worry. When he's done, Judith is left as a topless bloody corpse lying on her bedroom floor. Michael heads back downstairs and out of the house right as his parents pull up. The extended first-person shot finally ends when they demask him. And
he was a kid?
Kind of stand there for an awkwardly long time without saying anything or emoting as the camera pulls away. Classic cold open though. Jump to Smith's Grove in the same same state now 15 years later on Halloween Eve. 'Twas a dark and stormy
My mom's
night
birthday.
when Dr. Sam Loomis, played by the masterful Donald Pleasance, joined chain-smoking nurse Marion Chambers to go to the Smiths Grove Sanitarium. They're going to pick up Michael Myers, who Loomis keeps referring to as an it, and transfer him to another facility. But things take a turn for the creepy when they see that the Smiths Grove inmates are out and about, getting all wet.
What in the
Instead of being
Outlast
concerned
is
about
this?
them catching hypothermia like a real doctor would, Loomis presses forward and hops out to open the hospital gate. That's when Michael Myers hops on
It's
top
always
of
raining.
Marion's car and grabs her by the face, tormenting her until she flees from her vehicle that he promptly
Why would
Grand Theft
you get
Autos.
out?
Michael must have
Why
been
would you
top
get
of the
out?
class in the Smiths Grove driver's ed program. The next day, back in Haddonfield,
He's
we
going
meet
back.
Laurie Strode, a modestly dressed high schooler played by Jamie Lee Curtis. Her Halloween night plans involve babysitting this little kid Tommy
Sounds
Doyle,
about right.
who's all sorts of scared of the abandoned Myers house. Laurie has a key to the place because
Why?
her dad's a local realtor, but as she leaves it under the mat, she doesn't
Do realtors
notice
just
that
have
she's being
keys like
watched
that?
by a shape inside and a shape outside. Must be one of those interior-exterior shapes. The shape continues its voyeuristic tendencies when Laurie's in school,
Why?
staring at
Is
her
he
from behind
obsessed
Nurse
or
Chambers'
something?
car parked across the street. But while Laurie's
Is he the one that
busy being
does
an
like the
SMRT smart girl, he vanishes into thin air. Which way did he go, Laurie? Which way did he go?
In Smiths Grove, Dr. Terrence Wynn, a colleague of Loomis's, blames the small doctor for Michael's escape and says it's
The small
unlikely that
doctor.
Myers is headed to Haddonfield, 150 miles away.
For God's sakes, he can't drive a car. He was doing very well last night. Maybe someone around here gave him lessons.
On his way to Haddonfield, Loomis stops at a payphone to warn the Haddonfield police, and that's where he
That's a
notices
nice
a truck
BMW.
on the side of the road. He finds evidence that Michael was there, but runs off before seeing our second body on the kill count, this poor truck driver who
Oh.
Michael apparently killed
Why?
and stripped for that classic blue jumpsuit. Damn, man, stealing cars and clothes? Michael's just as much a thief as he is a murderer. Laurie walks home with her cheerleader friend Linda,
I don't think he
played
has
by
much
PJ
remorse.
Souls, who's totally got a problem saying totally all the fucking time.
Totally.
They're joined by Andy Brackett, played by Nancy Kies, who credited stage
Also,
name
lots
was,
of hair
interestingly
in this.
enough,
Lots
Nancy
of hair.
Loomis. Michael Myers rolls by in his station wagon at a nice, slow, stalkery pace. But that doesn't stop Annie, the sheriff's daughter,
Oh, he does my mask
playing
on?
citizen cop.
Hey, jerk! Speed kills!
Michael stops his car threateningly, but after a pregnant pause,
Threateningly?
just keeps on driving. He catches back up with them later on the walk home when he's standing behind a bush staring at Laurie and Annie.
Don't
But when
walk
Annie
that
goes to
way.
confront him, he's disappeared
Oh.
once again.
Oh,
Michael
he
does
could
that
teleport,
more. He
can't
does
he?
it some more after Laurie gets home to her room decorated with smart person stuff. She sees him outside by the clothesline, then somehow,
He's not
without
even
her
trying to
wings
hide.
ever breaking, he just disappears. That one doesn't make any sense to me.
Does she
but
blink
okay,
and
we
he's
get it. He's
gone?
a creepy stalker. Meanwhile, Dr. Loomis arrives in Haddonfield and goes to the cemetery, only to find that Judith Myers' gravestone has been removed, straight plucked from the ground.
Wait, what?
Later that day, Laurie gets picked up by Annie, and they're having such a good time smoking a doob and listening to Blue Oyster Cult that they don't notice Michael tailing them in the Myers mobile. He gives them some space when they pull
okay.
over to talk to Annie's dad, Sheriff Brackett, who's checking out a hardware store
The
burglary
sheriff.
that sounds like a very specific hit.
All they took was some Halloween mask, rope, and a couple of knives.
Wait, why did that hardware store have Halloween masks? Somehow Papa Brackett
Hey,
doesn't
Halloween's-
smell that dank weed in the car, so he waves the girls goodbye right before Loomis shows up and introduces himself. Psst, Loomis, look behind you, dude. The shape you want is right behind you.
Yeah, literally the car that would give
Sheriff
it all
Brackett
away.
Takes Loomis to the Myers house where it all went down 15 years ago. They find a dead dog off screen, the first of many, many pooches that Michael Myers
why?
will kill throughout the series.
He got hungry.
And eat?
Eat?
Eat that dog corpse, or is that a metaphor, Loomy? During a tour of the house, Donald Pleasance
I
gets
don't
to
like
capital A
anything
act
about
when he
that,
tells
actually.
Brackett about Michael's psychiatric history.
I met this 6-year-old child with this
6? So he's
blank,
21?
pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
Yeah, some good acting. Now that it's nighttime, the teens of Haddonfield are out to make some babysitting bucks. Michael silently
that's why I don't go
observes
outside.
Annie as she gets to the house she's watching over, the Wallace family home, while just across the street at Tommy Doyle's house, Laurie is already nice and cozy, shitting all over Tommy's taste in comic books. Annie calls Laurie to tell her that she's arranged a date with our virginal final girl with the dude she's into named Ben Tramer. Pretty much every scene with Laurie and her friends involves them telling her she needs to get laid, but I wanted to mention this combo in particular just because Ben
Whoa.
Tramer comes back in a hilarious way next movie. Tommy looks out
In the
the
next
window
movie, which
and
we'll be
sees the
covering
shape
today.
standing outside the Wallace home. But when he gets Laurie to look, Mike's
Gone.
pulled his disappearing act again. Turns out he's gone around back to watch Annie take her shirt off after
In
she
the
spilled
kitchen?
some butter on it. While he's
in the
peeping
kitchen?
in, the Wallace family dog Lester
Doggo.
comes across him
No.
and starts growling. Michael makes short work of the
Lester's
poor
a crazy
canine
name
and
for a
kills
dog,
him.
by the
But
way.
in case you're new here, I only put humanoids on the kill count. Sorry, Lester. Annie gets a call from her boyfriend
And
Paul
I guess
saying
the
that his
Predator
parents are
counts.
gone and that it's bone o'clock. So she takes little Lindsay Wallace across the street to drop her her off with Lori and Tommy. The kids immediately get to watching The Thing.
The Thing, which I haven't seen anything. I skipped that kill count.
Since Carpenter would go on to make his own version of The Thing just 4 years later, which is still the best horror movie ever made. Come at me. Lori agrees.
Which is why I skipped it, because I can't watch it if it's in the kill count. I don't know.
Comes through again.
I don't know what the plan is for that.
Her teenage desires, though, because after she gets in the car to go pick up El Jerko, she's attacked by Michael Myers from the back seat. He strangles her in a lengthy, silent scene with no noise except for his heavy breathing and the sounds of her struggle, until she finally starts blaring the car horn in an effort to attract some help. That's when Michael cuts the kill short with a butcher knife, slitting her throat as Annie Brackett becomes the third member of our kill count. Michael may be good at killing discreetly, but he's got to work on his body disposal, since Tommy sees him from the window carrying that corpse under a bright porch light. Props for being able to open that door with no hands, though, Mikey. You'd be great at one of those grocery delivery service jobs. In case you were having some unpleasant
brings it into the house
from a lack of Loomis, we get a fun little scene wherein he scares some kids that had bullied Tommy earlier. They're outside the Myers house, daring each other to go touch it, like friggin' Boo Bradley is there, when Loomis overhears their names and fucks with them.
Hey, Lonnie. Get your ass away from there.
Loomis is kind of a dick to kids. I love it. But sorry, back to horny teenagers. Linda and her boyfriend Bob roll up to the Wallace house so they can bang there while Annie keeps little Lindsay
They just had the crack those open in the car, by the way.
Lindsay are home right
Don't
now.
drink and drive.
It's totally dark.
So they're content to just make out on a stranger's couch, way too distracted to see the shape standing mere feet away watching them. Later on, they call up Lori, who tells them that little Lindsay is gone for the night, so they escalate their debasement of the Wallace home to full-on fucking in the parents' bed. Also, is that a real pumpkin jack-o'-lantern on the nightstand?
Yeah, in the bedroom's
crazy.
crazy.
They have an unusually short sex session, after which Linda is totally lying when she says it was fantastic, and then she sends Bob off to get her a beer. As he leaves, he breaks one of Randy Meeks' cardinal rules for surviving a horror movie.
I'll be right back.
After Bob grabs the beer, we get one of the best scenes of the movie when Michael pops out of a closet and starts choking Bob against the wall. It's a pretty solid jump scare, and the kill is Michael's
you saw it coming, didn't you?
He lifts Bob up off the ground with a single hand and then uses his other hand to stab Bob with his butcher knife. The icing on top, though,
I guess
is
Bob
when
couldn't
Michael
yell.
removes his hand, Bob's feet stay elevated off the ground. Michael stares at the new wall decoration with a couple of head tilts, showing he can appreciate his murder art from multiple angles.
Yeah.
Linda Vanderclock is our next hapless victim, and Michael dresses up for the occasion. It's Ghost Bob Michael Myers.
Put his glasses on.
My favorite image from the movie. It's followed by what's probably many other people's favorite image from the movie, as Linda tries to seduce Bob out of his Halloween spirit.
See anything you like?
After Ghost Bob is totally unresponsive, Linda goes to call Lori, but as soon as Lori answers, Linda is attacked by Michael, who strangles her with
the phone cord.
Lori
Okay,
hears
well,
the noises over
that's a strong
the
phone cord.
First assuming it's some kind of sex noise prank, but to her credit, she does become concerned by the time Linda is totally down and out for another kill on the count. After she's dead, Michael's all like, "New
does he
phone,
say anything?
who dis?" But Lori hangs up on him.
Does he
Boring
say
conversation anyway.
anything?
And
No?
back
Okay.
to Dr. Loomis, who
Who's just
inexplicably
outside.
just now sees that Marion Chambers' station wagon is parked across the street. Maybe you would have noticed it earlier if you weren't too busy cussing out the neighborhood kids. Loomis. But now that he knows Michael's in town, he's on the move. Concerned about that moaning phone call from
would
the
it be a
Wallace
bolo?
home, Lori heads across the street to check on Annie and Linda. It's completely dark inside, and after she heads upstairs,
Turn on a
she follows
light.
the only light on into the bedroom, where she gets to kick off her final girl circuit by finding Annie's body splayed out on the bed.
Bro, why is Bro
Myers'
carrying a gravestone?
And as with any true
Those things are
Michael
heavy.
circuit, she
Very.
finds the other bodies in unlikely ways, with Bob swinging down from the ceiling somehow, and a cabinet door opening on its own to reveal PJ Souls doing a pretty goofy dead body face. The corpses scare Lori out into the hallway, where in a
Michael
very
is?
cool shot, the shape materializes from the shadows behind her. He steps out and stabs at her shoulder, grazing her with a slash.
Quietest
that sends her
floors
over the
ever, by the
banister
way.
and crashing to the bottom of the staircase. One of the most infamous horror movie chase scenes begins as Lori tries to escape through all these locations.
Why are
The
they
movie
locked?
Has done a great job setting up.
He
so
put his
you know
arm
exact
through the
physical
door?
layout of them. I think it's one of the undervalued geniuses of this movie. Lori gets back to the Doyle house and is locked out as Michael slowly makes his way across the street towards her.
Is she gonna
When
be able to
Tommy finally
unlock
lets
the
her
door?
in, she
Oh.
barks at him to go hide
It's not gonna be good
upstairs.
enough. That's not gonna be good enough.
With the lights off and the phone line dead, Lori hunkers
wonder
down
why.
and grabs a knitting needle. Michael appears behind her, having come through the window, but when he misses an easy strike with his knife, she's able to stab him in the neck with the needle, which gets him down
that's
to the
gonna
ground.
hurt a
But
lot.
Lori's a Gen 1 final girl who doesn't know the way this shit works, so she assumes
gets back
that
up,
a single
yeah.
stab has put her tormentor
No.
out of business for
He's
good.
gonna
She
stand
goes
back up.
upstairs to tell
No?
the kids that it's over and that
It's
she
not.
killed him, but Tommy knows better.
You can't kill the boogeyman.
Tommy's right. Michael's back, baby. Lori ushers the kids into one room
and
goes
that door's
into
not thick
another,
enough.
where she hides in the closet. Michael Michael follows. And
Oh,
we get
no,
another
no, no,
classic
no.
scene
Oh,
as he
no.
violently shakes the closet door.
Why?
For a while
Does he not know
before
how
punching
closet-
through it and turning on the light? It's a good thing Lori never listened to her mom.
See, stick his head in the window?
Has a wire hanger at her disposal, which
To
she
do
turns
what?
into a weapon and then uses to
How?
stab Michael Myers
You
right
can
in the
do-
eye. Michael
Oh,
drops his
yeah, no,
knife
that'll do
and
it.
she presses on with the attack, stabbing him in the chest with it. This knocks him out again and gives Lori another false sense
I don't know
of
if that-
security as
dude,
she
that-
leaves the comfort
he's gonna
of the
grab her.
closet. Once again, she consults the
playing
children
possum?
and tells them to go down the street to a neighbor's house and call the police. After she sends them off,
Go
she sits
next
there
door.
catching her breath and doesn't
And he's
notice
gonna
when
sit up.
behind her, Michael single-handedly pioneers a new workout program: horror killer abs. Get that six-pack in 10 movies or
just
less,
sits
one
up.
sit-up at a time. The kids run
Yeah.
out the front door screaming bloody murder, and since
As they
Loomis
should.
happens to be walking by, he puts two and two together and heads towards the house.
Why
Good
didn't they
thing,
go
too,
see him?
since Michael
And they're
has
like,
made
go
his
see
way
a
over
neighbor,
to
and
Lori and starts strangling
I guess
her
they
with his
thought
bare
only a
hands.
neighbor.
Right as Loomis runs upstairs, Lori pulls off Michael's mask, giving us a fleeting glimpse of the very plain-looking face of evil in a shot where Michael was played by a dude named Tony Moran. Loomis fires his gun at Michael,
well,
then follows through.
most of the time
and
he
shoots
was supposed
it
to
5
be
more damn
masked.
times with his gun, sending the spree killer out onto the back balcony and over the railing, where he lies on the ground in defeat. After the gun smoke is cleared, Lori gets a debriefing from
You said
Loomis.
5 rounds?
What's the boogeyman? As a matter of fact, it was.
Michael's boogeyman credentials are sealed.
They're gonna-
when Loomis looks
he's
outside
gonna be
to find
gone.
that Michael
Yep.
Myers is missing.
Knew
the
it.
bastard somehow survived and is free to kill.
How,
once
dude?
more.
How?
The movie ends expertly with a montage of all the locations we've seen, as Michael's heavy breathing grows louder and louder, suggesting that nowhere in Haddonfield is safe from the shape. It's a
Move.
good thing Michael brushed himself off to kill again, because his initial body count is pretty weak. Here, I'll show you at the numbers.
Oh, I was hoping he was gonna walk into something. Because I don't think there's any
Only
eye
5
holes
people
there.
died in
Oh.
Halloween, but that's fine for a first outing. It leaves room for growth. The victims consisted of 2 guys and 3 gals.
One of the few
giving
times.
The ladies the edge
Yeah.
in this pumpkin pie chart. With a runtime of 91 minutes, we wound up with a kill on average every 18.2 minutes.
91 minutes
I'll
for
give the
320
golden
grand?
chainsaw for coolest kill
I
to
think
Bob.
it,
The shot of
did
him
well for
pinned to
their
the wall is
investment.
one of the best shots in the movie, and the head tilt that Michael does tells us everything we need to know about it. Dull machete for lamest kill will go to the
Is-
trucker, whose body wasn't even found by anyone but the audience. Poor dude. And that's it.
That's actually
came out in
kinda sad.
1978 and ignited a brush fire of slashers, and eventually its own lengthy series of sequels. We'll look at the first of those, Halloween 2, next week.
Yep,
But until
or
then,
in this video.
peace. This has been the Kill
But we're
Count.
gonna
Thanks a
kill
lot for watching
or
this week's
Cujo
Kill Count.
came
I wanna
between
thank
these
a couple
two.
of patrons like Stephen William Swanberg, Gage Hill, and Seth Vermillion, and an extra special thanks to Romulus Fane. We're finally doing Halloween. It's
Yep.
probably my least favorite of the big 3 series, but this first
What is the
movie
big
may be
three?
the best movie out of all. of them.
Friday
Such good
13th,
filmmaking,
Scream,
man.
and-
you know, like film it.
Oh,
like,
no, but
it's
Nightmare on
like
Elm
art,
Street,
man.
not Scream.
Fucking art. Thanks everyone. Be good people.
See, now this is Cujo. And this is Halloween 2. Yeah, the big 3 are Halloween, Friday 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street.
In all our favorite horror movies. I'm James H.
James,
Leese, and
why are you
today
wearing
we're
scrubs?
looking at Halloween 2, released in 1981. This was meant to be the end of Michael Myers, as written by John
it
Carpenter
wasn't.
and Deborah Hill. And for 7 years it was, since Halloween 4 didn't come out until 1988, and Halloween 3
Oh.
was, well, you know, the mask one. I'd say most horror fans
mask
consider
one?
this a solid sequel, which is a rarity in this series. It helps
Yeah,
that
usually
director
sequels
Rick
are worse.
Rosenthal and returning DP Dean
What was the
Cundey
budget?
maintained the original film's effective visual style, even as the audience got to see much more of Michael Myers, now played by stunt performer and coordinator Dick Warlock. Different actor, but at least it's the same mask. You're gonna miss that mask later on.
It's a funny
trust
name.
me. Halloween 2 picks up mere seconds after the original's ending, and
Seconds?
takes place mostly in the hospital that Laurie Strode is taken to. My biggest issue with this movie
Well, I don't wanna
is
say
that
it's
Laurie
New
is
Mercy
mostly
Hospital.
bedbound, about as lifeless as the wig Jamie Lee Curtis is wearing since she had cut her hair short. But at least Sam Loomis is still around, even if
Is
he
it
is
New
already
Mercy?
descending into crazy loose cannon territory. Gorehounds will be pleased though, since this movie replaces the original's quiet atmospheric murders with much more graphic kills. Let's see how many there are.
They had
and
more
get to them.
budget. That's had.
The movie begins with Mr.
Haddonfield.
Sandman performed by
There's
the
no way
Cordettes,
this is a real
beginning
place,
the
right?
franchise's weird fascination with that song. Wouldn't that song be more appropriate for like Freddy Krueger? We actually watched the last couple of minutes of the original play out again, although new
Huh.
footage changes it, so Loomis
Like
shoots
what?
Michael 7 times and has the killer
How?
going off the front yard balcony instead of the back. Either way, same
Why?
as before, that boy be gone. Loomis loses his shit, and we get to hear the re-synthesized theme after he yells at one of the neighbors.
I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight.
You don't know what death is.
Oh,
After
that's the one where this
credits, we get another
sound comes
first-person
from.
shot,
That little
and
tune.
although it's kind of copying the original, it works because Rosenthal was trying real hard to make Halloween 2
doggo.
feel like the second part to one complete movie alongside the original.
Which,
Plus,
seconds
we get Dr.
later?
Loomis loosening a few bolts already.
I shot him 6 times. I shot him 6 times. I shot him in the heart. I shot him 6 times.
Well,
But
in that
you
new
didn't.
clip it was 7, but if you insist, we can call it 6. First-person Michael
But then
walks
you
through a
only
closed
do
line
5 in the
and peeks
original?
on an old couple who, of frickin' course, are watching Night of the Living Dead. Get that public
course.
domain. While they're enthralled
Yep.
by Judith O'Day,
No,
Michael
it's
steals a
that
kitchen
old.
knife. Then overhears a breaking news broadcast talking about his deeds. Better skedaddle, my dude.
What watch
He
is he
skedaddles
wearing?
his ass next door, where teen girl Alice Martin is basically marinated. She's such dead meat. Better fire up that grill fast, because after she sees her front door is open and dumbly approaches it,
Do people
without
just leave
using
their
any
doors
peripheral
unlocked?
vision, Michael jumps up and kills her with a stab to the chest, already giving us more explicit blood than we saw in the original. Back at the Doyle house, Laurie Strode is wheeled outside on a stretcher and put in an ambulance by paramedics Jimmy and Bud. They take her to Haddonfield
Jimmy and
Memorial
Bud.
Hospital, where the
Haddonfield,
other
okay.
patient of the night is a
What
kid
is
with
New
a
Mercy?
razor blade in his mouth.
What
Oh,
show- is that a TV show that has
nasty,
that?
I guess this came out around the time the US was getting real concerned about shit like that, even though there's never been an actual recorded case of it. Laurie is greeted by a skeleton crew at the hospital, led by the drunk
Times
Dr.
are different.
Mixter.
Janet, get
Drunk.
me some more coffee.
Despite Laurie's protests, they put her to sleep with a nice needle full of
Why?
Dr. Loomis and Sheriff Brackett drive around looking for Michael, and when Loomis thinks that he sees him down the sidewalk, they pull over
Nope,
so
it's
the
just
good
Halloween.
doctor can recklessly wave
Bro,
his
just-
gun at this poor trick-or-treater. And then this happens.
Oh! Oh!
Yeah,
Why?
man, what the fuck? And you know what the best part is? Turns out that dude was Ben Tramer, the guy Laurie said she liked and who Annie had set up a date with. Too bad
So
you missed out,
that's
Laurie.
why
I bet
he's
it would have
funny.
been one hot date. Oh man, that killer's crazy. Loomis is totally partially responsible for that shit. Deputy Gary Hunt shows up to tell
I mean-
Sheriff Brackett that Annie was found among the victims, so they all head over to the Wallace house where a bunch of news reporters are, including
They
one
need to
who's
set a
instructing
perimeter,
silent Dana
keep people
Carvey,
away.
who's dressed like he's auditioning for a part in Strange Brew. Sheriff Brackett verifies it's his daughter's body in a shot where at least Nancy
Oof.
Loomis got a day rate, and then Brackett decides to leave the movie entirely and pass the police role over to Deputy Hunt. Before he leaves, though, he blames Dr. Loomis while borrowing some of Donald Pleasance's acting style.
You let him out.
Meanwhile, Michael Myers is just walking
I
around
mean,
town, bumping into
yes and
boombox
no.
blasting cowboys. Fun fact, that little cow dude is played by Lance Warlock, Dick Warlock's son. On the radio, Michael overhears that Laurie was taken to Haddonfield Memorial, so that's where he's headed. He gets there in no time and is able to just walk
that has to
across
be
the
a
grounds to
trap,
enter the
right?
building because the lazy
Like, there's
security guard
bait.
Mr. Garrett isn't watching the monitors. Paramedic slash baby deer boy Jimmy pops in to check on Laurie because he's nursing a little crush, but he gets shooed out of the room by head nurse Mrs. Alves. Jimmy's stoner Bud smokes a bud and tells him to never get involved with any patients. But Jimmy still
What do you mean
sneaks
never
back
get
into Laurie's
involved?
room later and mentions that it was Michael Myers who attacked her.
In the Myers house? That little kid who killed his sister?
Oh
He's
yeah,
not a little kid
Laurie
anymore.
had no idea that it was local legend Michael frickin' Myers attacking her in
The entire
first
time.
place.
She
Never
thought it
really
was a
think about
shape.
that. But if you think that's a crazy revelation, Laurie, just wait till the end of this movie. It looks like the phone line is down, so Mr. Garrett is called upon to fix it. He leaves a walkie-talkie with young nurse Janet.
That's a
but fails
massive
to tell her how to
walkie-talkie.
use it. So you know what? It's about to be his own damn fault when he gets killed. His inevitable demise happens after a lengthy investigation of the storeroom when he closes a door to find
Hello.
Michael waiting for him with a hammer claw to the head.
Ugh.
Very reminiscent of the sheriff's death in Friday Part 2, which came out the same year, 81.
Huh.
Big year for hammer claws. As the stoner stud Bud seduces
Did
another
they
nurse,
know?
Karen, Laurie lies in bed and has flashback dreams of a real frank family conversation.
I told you, I'm not your mother.
What's all
She
the
also
white
has memories
sheets?
of a little boy sitting at a window who, you know, is obviously Michael Myers. It's all just setting us up for that reveal at the end of this movie that won't even be canon anymore in the new one coming out. Bud and
What is the
Karen
re-
end up making out in a physical therapy hot tub when the scene gets a little hotter thanks to Michael Myers tampering
gonna
with the
cook?
temperature valve. Bud gets out to make things more
She's
congenial
gonna
to
cook,
his sperm
isn't she?
count, and unseen by Karen as she towels herself off, is killed by Michael Myers strangling
Oh.
him in the background in a silent death. I guess he's getting choked with the length of some cord or something. It doesn't really matter. He did. Karen is obviously the next one,
Yeah.
and it's probably the film's most memorable death, which we'll get
Why?
to as soon as Karen stops caressing Michael's hand and putting his fingers in her mouth.
Ew.
Oh, gross, Karen. That has to taste like grease and copper. After
yeah, are
Michael
his
is
hands
like,
normal?
Hey, could you not? He grabs her and kills her by repeatedly dunking her head in the tub water as the temperature continues to climb. It's
Danger.
a real gnarly
Why
death,
is that
performed
even on there?
expertly by
Oh.
Dick Warlock and actress Pamela Shoop, and the effects are real gross, with her face skin coming off like dried Elmer's glue.
Oh.
She's finally drowned drowned and or
Is that
scalded to death,
how that would
Michael
happen?
unceremoniously drops her body to the floor.
Ew.
Also fun is the way Karen portended her own death in an earlier scene, complaining about lame party activities.
And bobbing for apples, actually bobbing in water, no less.
The
What about
townspeople
hot
of
water?
Haddonfield are rioting at the Myers house, which Loomis explains away using ever more crazy language and tenor.
The tribe, one of their number was butchered. This is the wake.
Yeah. Hey, deputy,
what is he
maybe take the
grabbing?
gun away from the dude
Yep.
who sounds like he's on ayahuasca. The cops then head to an elementary school that was broken into and find some symbolism stabbed into a desk. as well as a
Why is there
word
a
written on
knife?
chalkboard that they all mispronounce.
Samhain, the festival of Samhain.
For the record, it's
I don't know what
pronounced Samhain, I guess. We get another returning character from the original when Nurse Mary
Why?
Chambers shows up to
Why
talk
is
to
it
Dr.
pronounced
Loomis.
that way?
Oh, I didn't recognize you.
Dude, she like opened the first movie with you and got her car stolen. Come on. How
He's
could
had
you
a
forget
rough
this
day
chimney of a
for
woman?
2 days.
She tells Loomis that the governor has ordered him back to Smith's Grove.
Because
The
I guess by
governor?
now, even Springfield
governor
knows how
themselves?
crazy he's become. A federal marshal escorts the doctor and nurse out of Haddonfield, with Loomis muttering about evil and shit, until Marion shuts him up by saying that they found a secret file on Michael
Why are they
Myers
so
with
close?
some juicy backstory in it.
That girl, that Strode girl, that's Michael Myers' sister.
That's right.
Oh.
This is the reveal that Laurie Strode was Michael's baby sister, and that after her and Mikey's parents died, she was
And the
adopted
older
by
sister.
the Strodes. Loomis yells at the marshal. And
Oh.
Michael must be on a mission to kill his
Oh.
little sis now.
That's
He
a-
pulls a gun
that's
out
a
on the
plot.
officer as he orders him
Don't
back to
do
Haddonfield.
that
What does you fellas usually do? Fire a warning shot, right?
in a car. Now no one can hear.
Oh man, Loomis, you were getting so fucking arrested after all this, dude. Back at the hospital, Jimmy
depends on
pays
what round
Lori
that is.
another bedside visit.
I doubt it was
only to find
subsonic,
her
though.
totally unresponsive. He calls
Why?
in one last nurse I've got.
She faking it?
Nurse Jill, who sends Nurse Janet to fetch Dr. Mixter. You know, if he's not too deep in his mixers. Turns out it's actually worse than mere
He's dead.
inebriation, because Nurse Janet finds Mixter dead in his chair with a syringe in his eyeball. It's a fun discovery death, although I'm not sure what the kill specifics are. Was there a drug in that thing, or just air,
Just
or what? Janet
not
stumbles
good.
back straight into the shape, who materializes behind her, then sticks a needle that's definitely just full of air straight into her temple.
Oh,
and then presses down on the
God.
plug, killing Nurse Janet with what I guess would be an instant embolism, right? Like, you don't want air in your
Would it?
body where it should
Yeah.
be. Oh yeah, then Michael does another head tilt. Classic. With no Mixter in sight,
It's like he,
Jimmy
like,
runs to
watches.
get Nurse
He's like,
Alves.
hmm,
Nurse Jill
interesting
gets
that
distracted
happens.
by a bed buzzer from another room, allowing Michael
experimenting.
to walk into Laurie's room and start stabbing away at her bed. But turns out
She's
it's
not
not
there.
Laurie at all under those
a
covers.
fake.
It's pillows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Laurie's finally up and kinda walking around. Sadly not for long though, since she finds a room to hunker down in and just passes out again. Damn
On
it.
the floor?
Jimmy comes
Like curled
across
up in a
head
ball?
nurse Alves lying dead in an operating room. And things get kinda giallo
That's
as
the
we see
darkest
that her
operating
blood
room
has been
ever.
drained out all over the floor. After Jimmy realizes what's going on, he turns around to leave.
What's
only to
going on
slip
with
and
the
land
blood?
on his back in the middle
Ow.
of his blood puddle. Blood
Ew.
will be out for a while.
That's-
While he takes a nap, Laurie decides to
In
give that
blood.
whole consciousness thing a go again, and that's when Nurse Jill runs into her in the hall.
Dead.
Too
One of
bad
them's gonna
Michael's
die.
there,
Yep.
too. He uses a scalpel to stab Nurse Jill in the back and
pick
murders
her
her
up?
by lifting her body high up off the ground in a nicely done kill that echoes Bob's from the original, but with a little more panache, since the shot of her feet shows her shoes falling off. Solid kill, Michael. Way
Okay.
to be. It's time for Michael v. Laurie Part Duh. In another classic slasher chase scene where the killer stalks the victim at a snail's pace and the final girl runs into the corpses of previous victims, even if they're characters she's never met before. Laurie ends up on an elevator
I mean,
that
yeah,
just barely blocks
any
Michael
dead body
out,
is
and after she
something you don't
reaches
wanna
the ground
see.
floor, she bolts outside the parking
Oh, now
lot
she
and
can
takes shelter
walk
in the
normal?
front seat
Run?
of a car. After a while, Jimmy re-enters the movie when he climbs into the car and tries
Does
to
he
start
not
before
notice
it
her?
launches, as he becomes worse than useless by passing out on the car horn and basically sending up a goddamn Michael Myers signal in the sky. This is the last we see of Jimmy, but I don't think he died, just passed out.
Yeah,
so he
why?
doesn't go on the count. Deal with it. Laurie gets out of the car right as Loomis and Co.
don't know.
arrive, but for some reason she's just crawling all over the ground and unable to make any
Why
noise
is she-
while
she
they're
was just
outside,
running,
only
wasn't
finding
she?
her voice after it's too damn late. As she makes her way to the door, Michael Myers reappears and starts walking towards her slowly, taking his time since she's locked outside, and also because that's just how he be. Loomis finally
He's,
lets
like,
her into
so
the hospital,
unbothered
and
by
Michael
everything.
keeps stalking towards them, just walking straight through the plate glass door without nearly the speed necessary to do that. In any case,
he's
Loomis then shoots him.
just
In
that
fact, He
dense.
shoots him 5 times, and that, of course, gets the shape to the ground so he can pretend to be dead for a little while. Marion Chambers
Maybe
heads
he's just
outside
healing.
to use the marshal's car radio, and while she's doing that, the marshal is real horror
And-
movie stupid and gets perfectly
Yep.
vulnerable around
And
Michael,
done.
allowing
time.
The killer to
That's
rise
why
up
you
and
get
kill
rid
the
of the
cop
weapon
by
in the
slitting his
hand.
throat with a scalpel. Man, people are
How do you forget your
Michael
training?
walks at Loomis and Lori,
I even know
run
that's
off
what they
holding
do.
hands and hide in a surgery room where Loomis gives Lori the marshal's gun.
You walk over
not
and
like he's
get
using it.
rid-
Michael
like, kick the
appears and
weapon
just
away.
smashes straight through the door because I guess this hospital was built that cheap. And after Loomis'
They had no
gun
metal
doesn't
doors?
fire because he forgot to hit R, Michael stabs him right in the gut with a scalpel. The wounded crazy doctor falls to the floor, leaving Lori vulnerable to Michael's advances. But luckily, she has that other gun and uses it to shoot Michael in the head. Actually, twice for good measure.
Ooh, good shot.
Lori,
Yeah.
And great shot Rick Rosenthal of all that blood running out through the
Ew.
eye holes in Michael's mask. Man, I love
But
those
where
black
did the
tears.
bullets-
Blinded,
did they go
Michael
into his
starts
forehead?
swiping wildly at where he knows Lori to be, but Loomis gets back up and opens the valves on a tank of gas. Michael follows the noise over to him, and Lori takes the cue to start opening other tanks in the room. There's a lot of great
Why?
sound design as
It's
Michael
filling the room with
continues
gas?
swiping away, and the hissing of gas grows louder as Loomis gets crazy with it. When the room is good and filled, Loomis orders Lori
What
to
is
run
ether?
out and tells Michael to say his prayers.
It is time, Michael.
With that, we get
That's
a giant
not-
hospital explosion.
She was
that fills
not
the
far
hallway
enough
with
away to do
fire.
that.
From the flames exits Michael Myers, trying one
Unbothered?
last time to keep on keeping on. In a fire stunt that was so hot, Dick Warlock got burns on his arms from the zippers on his flame suit. Thankfully, they don't put metal zippers on flame suits anymore. The heat proves to be too
did
much
they do
for
that
Michael,
after
and he
this?
collapses to the ground. And although this was originally the death of both Michael and Loomis, that
It
was
wasn't.
retconned in Halloween 4. So
But
nope,
Loomis
they don't go
for
on
sure,
the kill
right?
count. The movie ends the next morning with just a bit more of Sheriff Brackett and Dana Carvey. As
It really
Lori
is like
wheeled
part
out to
two.
an ambulance. Michael Myers continues to burn as Mr. Sandman plays once more. You know, statistically, you are most likely to die in a hospital. How many people was that true for in
yeah.
Halloween 2? Let's find out.
There's more kills in this one. Why was he dancing?
10 people died in Halloween 2.
Yeah, that's twice
a
as
solid
many.
doubling of Michael's
Yeah.
first outing. The victims
And it's a
consisted of
50-50
5
split.
guys and 5 girls, giving us an even 50-50 split between genders. And with a runtime of 92 minutes, we had a kill on average
wow,
every
okay.
10.2 minutes. I'll give the
Easy
golden
math.
chainsaw for coolest kill to Nurse Karen. I feel like I have to. Although there were plenty of other commendable deaths.
What's
going to
be the worst
nothing
one?
is as memorable as Karen's face peeling off as Michael
Is it gonna
dumps
be the
her over and
operating
over
room?
again. If only that hot tub were a time machine to go back to when she was still alive. Doll Machete for lamest kill will go to the Marshal because it was
Oh, yeah,
super
yeah.
dumb of him to get that close to Michael. And he makes a goofy face as his throat is slit. And that's it. Halloween
That's
2 came
understandable,
out in
yeah.
1981 and was a success at the box office, which makes the Season of the Witch thing even more baffling.
What is
I'll
Season of
explain
the
next
Witch?
week.
What?
Until then, I'm James A. Janice.
There's gonna be a lot of Halloween on
Thanks a
channel
lot
next
for
couple
watching this
weeks.
week's Kill
I
Count.
hope
wanna
that you're
thank a couple
subscribed so you don't
patrons
miss
like
it.
Carla Alexis,
Patrons
Michael
get all the
Conley,
videos a day
Andrew
early,
Redmayne,
so.
and Logan O'Neill. While trying to come up with something to wear for this kill count, I remembered that I already own nurse scrubs. When I was trying to do the actor thing in LA, I was in this shitty theater production, and it cost my friends like $35 to come see me. So thanks,
Oh.
Mark, for coming to do that. Oh man, I don't miss that shit. Thanks, y'all. Be good people.
Aw, James. Hey, you know, he tried, has memories. Next week will be Halloween 3 and 4, and then we'll do 5 and I guess 6, and then we'll do this, and then we'll skip the look-see, and then Resurrection, and then Halloween, and then the Halloween remakes, and all that fun stuff. It's gonna be, I'm gonna jump around a little bit and get all of the Halloween. If you're binge watching in the playlist, like however long in the future this is, you're just gonna have the 10 straight Halloween kill counts going across in order. So it's gonna be awesome if you want to see through that. If you just want to get to Halloween, you're not gonna be interrupted with, you know, like Cujo would come between this and all that fun stuff. So it should be awesome. Go learn a lot about the Halloween series. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of comments tell me about it. I look forward to reading those because I read every single one of your comments. Leave them down below. And I hope you're subscribed. We are like real close to like the 1,000, the final 1,000 subscribers away from 100,000 subscribers as we are approaching December very rapidly. So it's going to be real close to see if we can hit 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year. But I hope you have a wonderful rest today. Hopefully made a tiny little bit better. But until next video, take care and cue the music.